How's it going, guys? My name is Jared, and just kind of give you a little background of who I am. If you don't know me, I'm a senior here at Northwest, and I work with the junior high and senior high out at New Life Church in Renton. But I grew up in a really small town in northern Idaho called Old Town, Idaho. When you're driving into my town, there's a sign that says entering Idaho, and the next one says entering Old Town, population 109. So 109 people officially in the town of Old Town. It's connected, it sits right on the border, so it's connected to the city of Newport, and there was a couple thousand in Newport, but really small town. And I went to a very small Christian school in that town there. I graduated with 13 other people. And so 2 of them were homeschoolers. We had like 11 people in my class, so that was crazy. But I came out halfway normal, at least. I can't say that happened for the rest of my class, but we'll pray for them. But anyway, one of the things we did at that small school is we went to Silverwood every year at the end of the school year, and Silverwood was kind of one of the highlights of the year. And the best part about Silverwood, the part I was always most excited about, and the part that my friends were always most excited about, is we would get bracelets that let us have unlimited pop all day long. Okay, and it wasn't just pop; it was Pepsi products, which meant there was the holy and perfect Mountain Dew available for us all day long, as much as we could drink. And so this one particular time, we were headed out there, and we had the Pepsi bracelets, and we spent the entire day. And like, just to give you maybe a little background on how much I love Mountain Dew, we used to buy a 24-pack, me and my buddies, and we would drink it like in a matter of 2 nights over the weekend, staying up and playing Halo. Okay, so I would down Mountain Dew. Like, I can drink Mountain Dew like nobody's business. And so when I have an unlimited band at a theme park, I'm going crazy. So, and it was hot that day too, so we would get thirsty, and it was like, hey, what do you want to do? Let's go get some Mountain Dew. So Mountain Dew all day long, best day ever. Get home, I'm laying down, just chilling, relaxing, watching some TV, and getting ready to go to bed. So I hop up off the couch, and I run up the stairs, because that's just what I always do. I run upstairs for whatever reason. So I ran up the stairs, and I get to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there, I got my toothbrush about ready, and my head just starts like literally buzzing. Like, I could hear a buzzing noise in the room, and my eyes were getting blurry, and I couldn't see straight, and I said, oh my goodness, there's something wrong with me. And I had been watching House downstairs. If you've ever seen House before, it's like medical mysteries. And I'm like, oh my gosh, something terrible is happening. So I kind of like wobbled over to my mom's room and opened the door. I was like, Mom, you got to call the hospital. And she's like, oh my goodness. And then I passed out. So take me to the hospital, because that's just what we do in my family, because we have a history of medical problems. And so go to the hospital, find out I was dehydrated. I had been in the hot sun all day long, and only thing I had been drinking was Mountain Dew. So they dumped a bunch of water in me, and I was totally fine after that. But when it came to that point where my head started buzzing, I had realized, like, there's something lacking in my body. There's something like that I'm not totally getting here, and something bad is going to happen. And we all come to that realization with our bodies, and that's why God gave us incredible things like thirst, so that we know, hey, you're lacking in water. And I didn't listen to thirst very well, and I gave it Mountain Dew instead. But in our lives as well, we know when things are lacking. We know when in our walk with just the way life is going, we know when we feel like, there's something I'm not getting. And sometimes it comes out in the form of like depression. Sometimes it'll come out in the form of a loneliness, or maybe anger in your life, or maybe for you it's kind of like a lack of faith in what God has. But we know that we're lacking in some certain way in our lives. And so the question becomes, how do we then, if in our physical bodies we can recognize the lack and we can fulfill it with something like water or something like that, how then in our spiritual lives, or just our life walk, how can we fulfill that thing that is lacking? I believe Jesus has the answer for us, holy cow, in his word, which is found in John chapter 7, verse 37 and 38. And it says, on the last day, the climax of the festival, Jesus stood and shouted to the crowds, anyone who is thirsty may come to me. Anyone who believes in me may come and drink. For the scriptures declare, rivers of living water will flow from his heart. You see, Jesus is using this analogy of water. He says, come to me if you're missing something, if you're lacking something, if you're thirsting after something. Come to me, because rivers of living water are flowing from me. And he's using this kind of metaphor to show us that when we feel like we're lacking something, when we're facing loneliness, when we're facing something like depression, and we know that something's just short and our lives just aren't the way that they're supposed to be, if we would come to him, he would be the source of what we really need, and that's living water. See, oftentimes in our lives, we turn to the wrong things. Me, as a dumb junior probably high schooler at that time, I turned to Mountain Dew when I was thirsting in my physical body. And that was not what I needed to turn to. It ended up messing me up in the end. What I really needed to turn to was water, because that's the life source for me. And so that's what Jesus is saying in this passage. He's saying, I am a life source for you. When you are lacking in anything, come to me. I want to refresh you. I want to fulfill you. And I want to give you what you need. So for you, maybe today it looks like, man, when I'm facing depression and when I'm feeling down, I just need to turn to my scripture. I need to open up my word and I need to begin to ask God, come be my living water. Come fulfill me once again. Maybe if we're lacking faith, as doubt begins to cloud our mind, we just need to give that up to God and just say, God, this is yours. I know I'm fearing this, but I'm going to give it to you because I know you're going to be my source. Whatever it is for you, I challenge you this week, begin to do that. Because there's a promise that comes from Scripture. It's found in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, and it says, and this is Jesus talking. He says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. My yoke is easy, and my burden, and the burden I give you is light." See, Jesus wants to be our source, and he wants to fulfill us. But we have to turn to him. So my challenge to you this week, in the midst of your trials, circumstances, whatever's going on, turn to Jesus as your source, because he wants to fulfill you and give you a light burden.